As if the city of downtown Clearwater couldn't possibly be taken over any more by Scientology or Scientologists. Clearwater, Florida, of course, being the home of the mecca of Scientology called Flag Land Base, as if it couldn't be over anymore, either in the way of property or the sheer number of bug eyed drones that occupy the area. There's another Scientologist that wants to grab more property. And not only that, it's going to be the biggest eyesore that Clearwater, Florida has ever seen. So, breaking news here, my friends. This is some excellent reporting by the Tampa Bay Times, who, when no one else will cover Scientology, you can always count on them. And here's the latest shenanigans going down in Clearwater, Florida. So as you can see here, we have Clearwater developer plans twin condo towers amongst tallest in Tampa Bay. Let me turn down the music here, by the way. Okay, so here we go. The project size has shocked residents and city officials, and under new rules, it no longer requires a public hearing. So this is what the area looks like. You can see an aerial drone view looking west toward Clearwater Harbor, and the Gulf of Mexico shows the parking lot where two 35 frickin' story condos are proposed to be built in Clearwater. So over here you have this building with its parking lot, you have this building with its parking lot, and some rich Scientologist, multimillionaire, has been hawking this property right here, and he's going to build two 35-story condos here. And why not, right? I mean, look at that beautiful view. So, developer Moises Agami is proposing luxury waterfront condos on the southern edge of downtown that, if built, would become the tallest buildings in Clearwater and some of the largest in Tampa Bay. At 470 feet, the two 35-story towers would soar over the city's highest buildings today. That would be Water's Edge, built on Cleveland Street in 2008, at 264 feet and 26 stories. The buildings would be more than twice as tall as the 15-story Oaks of Clearwater assisted living facility to the north and the 13-story Prelude 80 condo to the south, and they would tower over the single-family homes in the boarding Harbor Oaks neighborhood. Again, those two buildings that are being referred to are these, and this is the area where these things are going to tower over, and you'll see the size difference in a rendering coming up. It's absolutely ridiculous. Agami's company is under contract to buy what is now a 2.5-acre parking lot from the Oaks to build his project. I was stunned, said a resident. Then I thought, there's no way this is going to happen because it's too small and not in any context with the neighborhood. Oh, but you don't know you're dealing with the Scientologist, dearly neighbor. And despite Agami's request to pack more units than city code allows, the buildings will not require a vote by the Community Development Board due to recent changes in downtown development standards aimed at cutting red tape. So because Scientology has taken over so much of that city, they tried to loosen the red tape. The Clearwater City Council, which Mark Bunker is a part of, and they tried to loosen the red tape so people could be encouraged to develop properties that didn't belong to Scientology. But apparently, it's backfired on them because who would have thought that rich Scientologists in Clearwater, Florida, would also take advantage of the no red tape laws? Okay, but despite Agami's request to pack more units than city code allows, the buildings will not require it because of the cutting red tape. And there it is, my friends. Look at the size difference. Talk about, this to me seems like small penis syndrome. Like, why would you want to build something like that? Look at these poor people over here. That's an eyesore to say the least. And that's what it's going to look like. That's a rendering. A rendering of twin 35-story towers proposed by developer Moises Agami, who's a Scientologist, by the way. We'll get into that shortly. For 420 Bay Avenue in downtown Clearwater. 420. Well, at least you got the name right. A code change in May gave city staff authority to grant some requests for increased density downtown, no longer requiring a vote at a public hearing. And since 2004, there have been no height restrictions at all in the core, which is a district within downtown designed for high-intensity uses in the blocks around Coachman Park and the waterfront. Without a need for a zoning change or more complicated flexibility, Agami's application is currently under review by city staff, the only level of discretion required for his permits. Planning and Developing Director Gina Clayton said staff has asked for more information on how the developer would configure a seawall and preserve existing mangroves, among other technical issues. I'm sure that's the first thing on Agami's mind. There's still a lot of work, as Clayton says, but Valor Capital, Agami's company proposing the condos, declined to answer a series of questions from the Tampa Bay Times about the rationale for the height. Again, I would suggest small penis syndrome, the project's cost, its financing, and other issues. He responded with a statement that said his company has offered to meet with neighbors to discuss their concerns. And here comes the most banal response from him. Quote, "We are excited about this incredible opportunity." Yeah, I'm sure you are. You're going to make a shitload of money while everybody else suffers. "As we embark on this remarkable journey to realize Clearwater's enduring vision for," did Miscavige write this? "Enduring vision for a vibrant, sustainable downtown. We are honored to play a pivotal role in bringing this vision to life. Agami is the developer behind the luxury Serena by the Sea condo, completed this month on Edgewater Drive and Sunset Point Road, as well as the Skyview condo on Cleveland Street, to be discussed a little later. That's where Tom Cruise is staying at. So he developed Tom Cruise's penthouse, and there is him and his brother. They look like they're really into each other and might actually be on the verge of a kiss. Developer Moises Agami, right, talks with its brother Alan Agami, left at a Clearwater Community Development Board meeting in 2019. A company he manages has purchased several downtown properties since 2017. The year-limited liability companies tied to the Church of Scientology began buying vast tracts of commercial real estate and keeping most of them vacant. Of 24 ground-level storefronts within Agami's buildings on the main Cleveland Street drag, 15 of them are empty. Agami is a member of the quote-unquote church. They really should stop calling it a church just to hammer home that it's a destructive, human trafficking, mafia-esque criminal enterprise masquerading as a church. His latest project would include 223 units before the two towers, 38 more than what is allowed by code for the size of a lot on Bay Avenue. But fear not, Agami is requesting the extra units from the city's public amnesty incentive pool created in 2004 to encourage development downtown. Again, that was for the purpose of encouraging people other than Scientologists to take over and develop property. But who knew that those no red tape laws could be used by rich Scientologists? On May 4th, the City Council changed the code to allow planning staff to allocate units from the pool to some projects that include a public benefit, like electric vehicle charging, etc. So he submits his application, and Alberton, who is a resident, says, "I never anticipated we'd have a 35-story building right on the water. This was a complete surprise." And in terms of Tampa Bay high-rises, Agami's 470-foot project would be near the highest. One, St. Petersburg on 1st Avenue North, is that city's tallest building at 450 feet. And it says there's several buildings over 500 feet tall in Tampa, but Clearwater until now has not seen this kind of height, even on the Clearwater beach. So it'll basically be the biggest eyesore ever. And in today's Substack by Tony Ortega, he asked Mark Bunker, Clearwater City Councilman, and one hell of a fighter for Scientology. I mean, these guys, he's been on their ass forever. He asked him kind of what he thought about this and if Miscavige was behind it. And here's what he had to say. "So what does it mean now that Agami, who is the developer behind Tom Cruise's Clearwater condo, is planning to change the skyline of Clearwater with his 235-story towers just feet from the intracoastal? We're screwed," Vice Mayor Mark Bunker told us when we rang him up to ask him what the heck is going on in his beleaguered city. He told us that he was stunned to read McManus's story, which revealed that Agami is taking advantage of the city's attempt to encourage more development by removing some zoning regulations in an effort to, quote, lessen red tape. "Everyone was complaining about red tape, so we cut red tape, and now we can't stop what he's doing." Talk about a Scientology Jedi mind trick. They totally I guess they didn't think about that, but there are a lot of rich Scientologists, so why wouldn't they think that they would also take advantage of that to buy up more of Clearwater, Florida? Agami got on our radar when we noticed that his family, which is based in Mexico City, was donating huge amounts to Scientology. And in 2016, we first broke the news that Agami's plans for renovating a former bank building on Cleveland Street would involve a penthouse, double-level condo that Scientology officials told the city would be for Tom Cruise. And there he is at the International Association of Scientologists giving $7 million fucking dollars to this cult. And there he is with this family. This is an IAS event that they hold once a year. And it's a way for Scientologists to give money for nothing back as a war chest or a defense. If they need lawyers, if they need to stop criminal prosecution, whatever they need, this is where they get their millions and millions of dollars from whales that contribute to the International Association of Scientologists. And here we have Moises Agami Center with family members picking up a trophy in 2015 for donating more than $7 million to Scientology's legal defense fund. Bunker tells us that Agami owns other properties in town, and at least one of them has a thriving restaurant, but he would like to see the developer bringing in more businesses to the buildings he already owns rather than put up a couple of new high-rise towers. Yeah, obviously. On the plus side, Bunker says that at least Agami's new project may make other developers more comfortable with coming downtown. Quote, it's been hard to convince a developer to be the first one to come down and build projects in the city. Yeah, because Scientology looks like a very scary town out of some horror movie, especially Cleveland Street. But he acknowledges that the biggest complaints will come from residents nearby, of course. We told Bunker we had a more specific question in mind. How does Agami's plans to build up downtown with his condo towers fit with the midget's ongoing efforts to thwart the city's revival? That would be David Miscavige, current leader of the cult. Quote, I don't know if this is a devious plan from Miscavige. I doubt it. Agami also built a large tower on Fort Harrison Drive on the way to Dunedin in a quiet neighborhood. People there were very upset because of the change to the character of the neighborhood, but he's done these things for commercial reasons, i.e. cash. Bunker predicts that Agami will charge high prices for his condo units, and he assumes that some or many of them will go to wealthy Scientologists. For years, we've been saying that David Miscavige has been circling Scientology's wagons in Clearwater as the church membership has dwindled, and places like Los Angeles and East Grinstead, England, have lost their influence. Could Agami's high-rise haven for rich Scientologists fit the plan? Well, I think that's why Tom Cruise moved out there. You know, he sold his shit in Hollywood, and he moved out there. He has this incredible penthouse there, and a lot of people seem to be consolidating their power at their Miscavige's new headquarters, apparently, in Clearwater, Florida. Hence why there's so much of that really is kind of the first Scientology-esque town. Hubbard's vision of like taking over a particular town or something, it seems like they've kind of achieved that with Clearwater, despite what others might say. For years, we've been saying that David okay, so they're circling back. I think you're right about Miscavige circling the wagons. This is Mark Bunker speaking. I think we're seeing wealthy and less wealthy Scientologists closing ranks here. I'm not going to blame this Agami's project on Miscavige, though. I'm sure it'll benefit him. It won't be a negative for him. It will be a negative for the people near it, and it will change the character of the downtown. Bunker also points out that Miscavige has been talking about restoring storefronts on Cleveland Street, that's the creepy ghost town, in order to bring back a, quote, neighborhood charm to downtown. But that's apparently out the window now. If you want a neighborhood feel, that doesn't really go with gigantic fucking towers. Anyways, quick news report, my friends. I just wanted to jump in here because it's important to know about this stuff and what's going on. And then I was just thinking about this, like, so what would you do to counter that? I know this is going to sound crazy and it's idealistic, but you know, you put your money, you give money to what you support, right? If everybody would not support Tom Cruise in his movies and give him money and dry him out, it's our participation and giving money and supporting him that actually allows him, in my opinion, to continue doing what he's doing. If he took a huge box office fail, or if enough people were outraged that he wasn't seeing Surrey, or how could you possibly support this cult that's really, really hurting people? If people became aware of that on an ever-increasing scale, perhaps they would be less inclined to give him a pass because they love his movies. Watch it for free. Watch it on a torrent. Just don't give him money. That would be one way to handle it. And so when Agami builds these fucking things, of course he's going to rent it out to rich Scientologists and such. But let's say people that had the money became more informed and they knew that the creator of these incredible eyesore high rises was a Scientologist and what he supports, and that he's given millions and millions of dollars to keep this criminal organization alive. Maybe they would skip getting a place there. Maybe people could protest when this guy starts to develop this shit. There's all sorts of ways to hurt him financially. Other than that, they seem to kind of do what they want, especially in Clearwater, Florida. What did you just say out loud, Goldie? Anyways, guys, if you, it seems like people are getting unsubscribed or not getting notifications. There's going to be a lot more content coming out, and some of it's going to be fast and not with much notice. But apparently, if you hit the little bell icon, which is right below the fucking video, apparently that will notify you. If you want to check in every few weeks to make sure you're still subscribed, that would probably be a way to make sure you're still around. But much more content to come, and there might. I guess we're going to end off for tonight, but there's more news stories actually to cover. I just want to jump in here and cover this because it's important, man. And my friends, I hope you enjoy the rest of your night or evening, wherever you are. And I promise you, we're going to get a better outro. I can't stand this. I just have to take the time to edit something. In the meantime, I leave you with this absolute jackass that started all this nonsense that we talk about every day. Take care, my friends.
Now here is L. Ron Hubbard.
And you find in each and every case, you're finding the phenomenon of entities, communications, spaceships, other planets, locations, beingness in other states, and all of this, and you find this to be a consistent condition. You have fulfilled this definition of the mesh universe.